don't avoid the hard topics in dating, because when you avoid the hard topics in dating, it's going to make your marriage harder, because everything is amplified when you get married. So if you're going to marry them, you might as well deal with it now. And especially when it comes to family, they're not going away. Right. So if both of y'all going to stay, we got to work this out. We got to at least be cordial. What's up, fam? Welcome back to our channel. My name is Tim. This is my beautiful wife, Pauline, and you're tuning in to another episode of the W Podcast, where you get wisdom in the word with the Wheelers. Hey, so we are super excited. If you're watching this the week it releases, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
If you were in the States, I don't know if people really celebrate outside of America.
No.
So we know we got some international listeners, so happy regular week to you. But we all got something to be thankful for. That being said, we do want to touch on family.
Yes.
And the holidays.
Yes.
And being single during the holidays. Being in a dating relationship during the holidays. And dealing with family members you may be meeting for the first time. There's so many different dynamics.
Yeah, because Thanksgiving kicks off the holiday season usually in the United States. After Thanksgiving, it's full-blown Mariah Carey. It's Christmas trees, it's tinsel, it's ugly sweaters, it's shopping, it's all the things. So it starts us
and Jesus.
Yes.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're bad.
My bad. You forgot.
Well, we're not talking about the spiritual aspect of it today. We're talking about the emotional and like just the fact that you're around family a lot towards the end of the year. Typically, maybe more so than you are. Because Thanksgiving and Christmas are back to back. Thanksgiving is the end of November, Christmas is the end of December, and if you spend New Year's with family, that's included as well. So it's a lot of opportunities to feel a way, either about being alone and being single, or about being in a new relationship, or just, family's always coming around asking you questions. Hey, what's going on? Have you met anybody recently? Or how so-and-so that you went around last year, and having to explain, answer questions, all of that stuff.
Yeah, and that's what we want to talk about in this first part of the episode, because we don't believe that being single is a death sentence. We don't believe that you just have to let life pass you by, but you can actually thrive in this season of life, and we want to unpack that here. So check this out. So what were you doing during those 9 years? Obviously, you weren't perfect. You already said that. But what are some practical things you did to make the season not suck? Because sometimes it's just hard.
Right. I really believe in approaching life through the lens of it's self-discovery. Everything about life is self-discovery. And I don't mean self-discovery in the terminology of personal development and trying to find yourself and make yourself. It's not about that. I just believe that God designed every human being with such a uniqueness and such a beautiful life plan, and that our season of singleness is the opportunity that you get in life. It's the one opportunity in the one season you get to be so perfectly selfish. And it's not bad. And it is not wrong to be selfish in the season of singleness. And so practically, I encourage everyone to look at their life through the lens of where am I going in life? Not who am I dating? Who's the one? Where's the one? Where am I going in life? Which direction am I going in? Is God leading me in that direction? If he's not leading me, maybe there's another route I need to take. Maybe there's a new city I need to move to. Maybe there's another job I need to take. When anyone comes to me and tells me that they're discontent in singleness, or they're at this place of absolute hopelessness, I often can have a conversation and look at their life and say, hey, wow, yeah, you're really bored. You're really bored in the season that you're in. You're really bored in your spiritual walk with Christ. I mean, my walk with Christ has never been boring, man. It is the only times it's boring is when I've checked out. It is constantly challenging me to become better. And life, the more that I continue to dig in and seize the opportunity in every season, not just singleness, right? But in the season of singleness, seize the opportunity to really explore who God designed you to be, the plan he has for your life, and the purpose in that season. That means take all the time that you have, go find kids out there, foster kids, at-risk youth, kids in your community that you can pour into, that you can make a difference in their life. Maybe you don't have kids of your own, but you long to be a mom, you long to be a dad. Man, that was my outlet. I would go find opportunities, people to love. Everyone's looking for a lover, but they don't realize there's so many people who are living loveless lives because of the circumstances that they've been fallen prey to. And singles have the gift of time and talent and finances often to be able to give that and sow that in that season.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. The time piece for sure. And like, honestly, I remember when I was single, you get annoyed kind of hearing that over and over again. Like, you have so much time, but it's just the truth. Like, it's just different when you're single versus when you're married versus when you're married with kids versus when you're married with grown kids. Like, there is difference. But at the same time, you do have a lot going on when you're single as well. And just, you got to figure out how to manage that in your own season, no matter what that looks like for you. Now, I'm curious, and we kind of jumped to it in the beginning, but in case people missed it, you were single for 9 years.
I was single my whole life, bro. I mean, I did not lock down a man until 2 years ago with homie I'm about to make a covenant with. Okay?
So that's where I was going. I was going there. You were single your whole life.
Yep.
You know, not middle school crush,
yep.
not high school.
Yep.
You went all the way to 2 years ago. What did that look like for you when you met? And I don't know if you want to spoil it, but when you met your guy, how did that happen? Like, can you tell us the story a little bit?
Oh yeah. I love it because I think God is like super cheesy. And I'm the biggest sucker for Hallmark movies. I wish that this wasn't something I had to confess, but it's true. And so I'm the biggest sucker, and I just love a good story. And I'm a writer. I love it. This is my 5th book, by the way. So Homegirl, like I love writing. This is my passion. And I just always wanted to have the coolest story. So I fully surrendered 2 years ago, this idea of having a good love story. I was just like, all right, God, it's fine. I'm going to meet him on a dating app. It's okay. I'll meet him, through my Aunt Susie, or, someone will matchmake me, if whatever, like it's fine. Or he'll be like a really straight edge Christian guy and, kind of boring and vanilla and, whatever. But it's fine, Lord. Like, I just want to honor you, God. I just want him to love Jesus and love me. And so I was like, I kind of had like this kind of pity party, gave it up. I truly surrendered it to God. And I was just saying yes to every opportunity. Now, when I say that I've been single my whole life, that doesn't mean I wasn't dating. I was dating the whole time. But I was not committing myself to prolonged relationships if I didn't see it leading to marriage. So there's plenty of stories in this book about dating, relationships, and all of that, because that's just real, right? If you're going to make yourself available, if you want a relationship, you have to pursue that. You have to posture yourself for it. So 2 years ago, I was in that place and I had surrendered it to God. And I was actually in a place of heartbreak. I was with someone for about 6-7 months. And in one of those situationships, though, you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought we were a thing. He was telling me it was leading to a ring. He was telling me this was the one. And, but that was all a fantasy, and it was all, kind of in his head. And so it really ended abruptly and broke my heart. Our story was like unbelievable. And I was just like, wow, I'll never have a story like that ever again. Yeah. And you know what? It was one of the best decisions I ever made, Tim, was ending that relationship. I'll never forget that clarity that God gave me was just, you being obedient to me, Esther, in releasing this. It is going to unlock your calling. And that's one thing I want to speak to your listeners right now, is that sometimes we're holding on to something so strongly and so firmly because we think that nothing better could be on the other side. And God's just like laughing because he's like, I am the everything better. I am like unbelievably your exceedingly great reward. I'm beyond your greatest imaginations of what you think is the best thing that could have ever happened to you. And so letting that go was so painful, but it was also so freeing. And I felt something unleash in me. And it was like months where God was just visiting me and pouring into me. And during the same time, I was finishing this book. We broke up. 3 months later, I finished it. I signed a contract with my agency, and we published this within 4 months, which is record breaking for them. It usually takes about 6 to 12 months to 2 years for them to publish a book.
Oh, wow.
And within that period, God's presence was just pouring out on me, and I just felt his calling unleashed within me. And I knew this was like such a powerful season of harvest. And like I said, I preached that your season of singleness, it should lead you in the direction of your purpose, that you should be sprinting after that. And in that place, you will be surrounded by so many people you have a lot more in common with if you're just trying to fix your eyes on trying to find that person. But if your eyes are fixed ahead on what God's calling you, then you're going to encounter more communities, more opportunities of people who have same likes, hobbies, spiritual compatibility as you. And so the direction God's leading you is going to lead you in the direction of the person that you get to choose for forever.
All right, so we hope you enjoyed that clip. Now, I got a question for you. Have you ever heard of the term, and I know, or I think you've heard this as well, but you're not just marrying the person, but you're marrying the family as well. You've heard that, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of truth to that. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
That's not a strong
Marrying is strong. I think being connected.
Okay.
For
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. I don't think they literally mean you're marrying the family, but it's the point.
You asked me how.
It's the point of you're going to be connected to these people for good, for bad, for worse. Even if you don't know the person's family, whatever family bloodline is running through them is going to affect you. Whatever past demons that their family has dealt with, if it hasn't been addressed yet, you're going to have to deal with that. And that's just something that you want to be mindful of. But we want to talk about, what do you do if you're dating somebody and they don't like your family? Like they've met them already, they've been around them, but the vibes are just not good. They don't like them, or your family doesn't like your partner.
Which is probably very common.
How do you handle that? How do you deal with that? We're going to unpack that. Check this out. It's important for you to know this for yourself. How important is it for the person you're dating to like your family? Because, just being honest, we've talked to people that some people don't care. Some people do not care. Now, that may not be the wisest thing, but some people don't care about if the person they're dating likes their family or not, or vice versa. Now, you want to make sure that you can at least be cordial around the person's parents. So if they can't even be cordial, you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of pain. But if they can at least be cordial, even if they don't love their personality, it's not the people that they would choose to hang out with if they had a vacation. But can they be cordial? Can they be respectful? If that's the case, and this person is great in every other area, it may be worth it to move forward. We know people that have been married almost 20 years, and the in-law situation is not good.
Yeah, it's never going to be perfect.
But the marriage is good. So that's something that you just want to be in consideration of. And you also want to ask this person, how close do you want to be to your in-laws?
Yeah.
Because sometimes your partner may not even want to be close to your in-law, so it doesn't necessarily matter how close they are to your parents. Again, you said my girlfriend's not comfortable, so you want to figure out what is it that's causing you to be uncomfortable. Like, was there something that was said?
Right.
But outside of that,
it could be unmet expectations. Like, oh, I thought your mom was gonna love me, and it turns out, she doesn't. There's a lot of to unpack here, so it's a very interesting topic, because it could be like, is your girlfriend or boyfriend being kind of shallow or selfish, or how much effort did they put forth to even try to get to know your parents? Like, maybe your parents are expecting more of them and they didn't get it, so they're not going to give more to, maybe they don't think she's going to be around for a long time. I don't know. It's a lot of different ways you could go about it. But I also think you need to put in consideration your parents. So if your parents are not very friendly people, I think you should keep that in mind. If you have to kind of prepare your partner for that as well. Hey, I don't know what you're expecting. Let's talk about expectations before you even meet my parents. And I'll let you know, my parents, if they're super hospitable, they're always having people over, they're really excited to meet you, great. But if they're kind of standoffish people, because not everybody's cut from the same cloth per se. You may be very outgoing, but your parents are not. And you need to prepare your partner for that so they have right expectations. But yeah, to the point of she's not comfortable. I would also add that
you need to find out from your girlfriend, is it both of your parents or just one of your parents that made her uncomfortable? Because that matters. That can make a big difference. You definitely need to pinpoint the when, the where, the how that this all sparked. Did it happen because something your parents said or did, or is it something that happened in your girlfriend's past even before you came around?
Yeah. No, that's good. Is there anything else you would say to somebody who they don't like somebody's parents?
Yeah, I mean, I have like some suggestions and tips that actually apply for both angles. So if it's the parents don't like the partner or the partner doesn't like the parents. So similar to what you said, but the first point is to know the history. Have you brought home people before? And if you have, how did that go? Is that kind of setting up your girlfriend for a bad dinner with your parents because you've brought home girls before and they kind of have a sour taste in their mouth with the type of girls you date? And even for your girlfriend, like, has she met other boyfriends' parents in the past and it hasn't gone well? So you need to know the history about things and like content. It's a lot of hard conversations that you need to have and like prepare yourself for that. And then the second point is to do your research on both. So that's kind of like goes with knowing the history, but even more so doing research about like, okay, well, what does make your girlfriend feel comfortable? She said she's uncomfortable around her parents, but when is she comfortable? Is she only comfortable around her family? Is she only comfortable seeing people during the day, at night? I don't know. There's a lot of different factors in here that could contribute to that, but you need to learn that. And then same thing with your parents. If your parents don't like your girlfriend or your boyfriend, what makes them feel comfortable? What do they like? Tim actually did a really good job when he met my parents, and like he brought them like their favorite candies and snacks and a card, and like, you know, he was serving them by like helping to move my brother into school, and that was like something that was very valuable to them because he was moving furniture and they weren't. So of course they were. You just like, oh, I'm so glad he's here. Like that was literally their words and their thoughts. So, you know, find out what matters to your parents and to your boyfriend or girlfriend. And you are going to have to play mediator. Like, you need to understand your role in this. And I think that speaks to what you mentioned earlier about like, okay, let's kind of put this in long-term perspective. Like, is this going to work out? Like, if you don't like my parents or my parents don't like you, my parents aren't going anywhere, right? So, like, these are the parents that I have. I'm going to honor them for as long as they're around. And the person that I'm going to marry needs to honor them too. Now, to your point, that doesn't mean you have to like them and obey them, especially, of course, when you're married. But you do need to honor them, whatever, you know, that's going to look different. And that needs to ascribe value to them. So I'm going to respect them. I am going to call them on their birthday. I am going to, you know, buy their Christmas gifts and go visit them and all those things. And if that's going to bother you as my potential spouse, then, like, this isn't going to work out. You know what I mean? And I also would hope that you would want to do that for your parents. And if you don't, then that kind of speaks to your character, doesn't it? So yeah, then you're going to have to be consistent with it. That's the third point. Be consistent with your role as a mediator. You can't just have one conversation and be done with it. Especially if this is like an ongoing kind of feeling. Again, we don't know the history of how long your girlfriend has felt like this, or if the parents are the one who don't like the girlfriend. Like, we don't know how long this has gone on. But I feel like a lot of it, in the case where the parents don't like the girlfriend or boyfriend, it usually has a lot to do, it's a byproduct of your relationship with your parents. Like, do they not trust your decision-making abilities? Have you dated badly and poorly in the past? And they're like, I don't think this is a good girl. It depends, because look at the other girls how you dated. And a lot of it has to do with that. If you're still living in their house, they're going to have a lot more opinions about, you know, who you date and how you date. So those are other factors to consider as well. But yeah, you're going to have to be consistent. And if you can't be consistent, then you probably want to evaluate this. Number one, the relationship, and also just the timing for you to date in general. Because if your parents are the problem, or if your relationship with your parents is the problem, you know, your next girlfriend's going to feel uncomfortable as well, most likely. So you're going to have to do the work now or later, or just don't get married. I don't know, or have a healthy marriage, which obviously we don't want that option for you. But yeah, trust is important here. That's really what it sounds like. Whenever there's a relationship issue, it's usually it links back to trust. So if it's either your parents don't trust you, they don't trust the girl, you want to find out more about that. Or if your girlfriend doesn't trust your parents, that's another conversation too. Like, again, was there something said that has broken trust? Trust is built in drops, but it's broken in buckets. So even if your girlfriend had like a couple of good months of building up trust with your parents, but one thing was said that totally breaks it, that needs to be kind of considered. And then also, like, how are you talking about your parents to your girlfriend? Do you make them sound like people she wants to be around, or are you only showing her and telling her the bad parts about your parents? And you do need to be honest, of course. I'm not saying lie about how your parents are, and you do need to give a sober-minded kind of like expectation if she is considering being part of your family one day if you guys do get married. But also you need to make sure that she knows a good person to them. But this also is a telling part too about like how gracious your partner can be, right? Because if they're just gonna focus on the bad parts of your parents, does that mean they're gonna focus only on the bad parts of you when you get married? I'm not sure. It's all interesting. And then the last point is to pray and involvement towards like this is evaluation period when you're dating. And again, kind of seeing her response to things, whether if she doesn't like your parents, because I think that's a pretty bold statement, don't you think? Like to say,
well, you said uncomfortable, but yeah.
Okay, but either way, I think you're right. The statement is she's uncomfortable around them, but I would want to know why, and there's a lot of different things like just do they have a different house or living environment than what she's used to? I don't know. It's all very interesting to know that. But yeah, definitely involve your mentors because they can give more perspective about it as well, whether it's your parents are the problem or it's really your girlfriend. But don't avoid it. That's really hopefully the main thing that you're taking away is don't avoid the issue and just hope that it goes away and she'll start being comfortable around them.
Absolutely. Because it'll only get worse if you get married and you don't address it.
All right. That was a great clip. What I loved the most was the part where we said, don't avoid the hard topics in dating. Because when you avoid the hard topics in dating, it's going to make your marriage harder because everything is amplified when you get married. So if you're going to marry them, you might as well deal with it now. Yeah. And especially when it comes to family, they're not going away. Right. So if both of y'all going to stay, we got to work this out. We got to at least be cordial. There has to at least be peace, or at least try to make peace. The Bible talks about do everything you can to make peace. But if they're not going to be peaceful, then you just got to let it be what it is. Don't stress yourself about it, but just be confident that I did everything I can do to be peaceful with the people that I am hoping to be my family one day.
Also knowing too that you stepping away from it and leaving it at the feet of Jesus is the best place, because God could be working on their heart, without you knowing, with you being involved. Whether it's this year, next year, 10 years, 15 years from now, you just never know what type of journey God has people on. But trusting him, that even if things aren't good right now, they could be good tomorrow, because our hope is in the Lord, and he's always working.
All right, so this next clip is for the couple who is kind of new, or maybe just for whatever reason y'all haven't introduced each other to the families yet, and this is your first time this holiday season meeting somebody's family. We want to give you 3 tips to prepare yourself for stepping into that season of meeting them, the awkwardness, the hi, nice to meet you. What should you do to prepare yourself for meeting your partner's family for the first time? We're going to walk you through it. Let's go. So we're going to share 3 things that you absolutely should do before you meet them and when you meet them. And then we got 2 questions at the end that you and your partner should have together when you get to that point to say, hey, how can we best prepare for this? So let's get into it. What you should do. The first point is this: be yourself. Please don't go in there trying to be anybody else. Don't go in there trying to deepen your voice. If you got a high-pitched voice, you be in there squeaky. Yeah. How you doing, sir? Like, just go in there. Just be yourself, bro. Don't be phony. It's so important to be yourself because people can respect who you really are.
Yeah, even if they don't like you, they'll at least respect you. I love that point because hopefully up until this point, whenever you do meet your significant other's family, whether you're just meeting like one parent or 2 parents or really all the generations, at one time, they've heard something about you up until this point. Hopefully it's good stuff. And they are going to want to know, is this person who they say they are? They really want to know if they can trust you, if they can trust you with their son or daughter. They want to know if you're going to fit into their family, all of those different things. But really, what we know strong relationships come down to, whether they're romantic, platonic, family, work, whatever, is trust. So they want to know, are you who you say you are? Can I trust you? So whatever it is they've heard about you up until this point, like if they heard like, oh, he's got a really squeaky voice, but he's so nice, and then you show up with a deep voice, they're going to be like, this isn't the guy that I heard about. Right. If they heard that you are super funny, and then you go in there and the daughter's saying, oh, he's so funny, he makes me laugh on the phone every night, and the mom's like, yeah, I hear you guys on the phone laughing until 2 a.m, and then when she meets you and you're really quiet, she's gonna be confused and like, who is this guy that I've heard or girl that I've heard about? So you want to make sure that you number one, know what they've heard about you, and make sure that it's number one who you really are. Or maybe sometimes meeting the family is a good opportunity to clear up things that they may have heard about you as well. But that's
good. The second thing you want to do is bring gifts. The Bible says it like this: the generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. It's so important to make yourself look as best as possible.
Yeah. And
you can do that by bringing a gift. Now, obviously, you'll need your partner to help you with this and say, hey, what's their favorite candy? What's their favorite flower? What's their favorite place to get dinner?
Right.
Use your partner to help you with that. But you want to make sure you bring something. And obviously, people have done this and met people's parents and not brought a gift, but it just helps. Like when you bring a gift, it softens somebody up automatically.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm giving this point from experience. My mentor, when I was dating, actually gave me that advice. He said, hey, when you meet them, bring them some flowers, bring them some candy, bring them a gift, bring them something.
Right.
And that just makes you look even better.
Right. I know you did that for my parents. I think it didn't make all the difference. They already liked you, or like they were very open, but I think it just, if that's where you are, if you're like, oh, that's kind of doing a lot, the parents already know me, or we already have a rapport, and like that's great. But even when you go to someone's home for the first time, I think, or just in general, it's always a good rule of thumb, especially if somebody's cooking for you, can be a way to say thank you so much for having me over. It's a way to be hospitable. And the Bible even talks about too that like you can win somebody over with a bribe or with a gift. So if they haven't heard great things about you, this is a good way to kind of clear that up as well. And even like if you're wondering, oh well, what can I bring? Like Tim said, you can do some research, get some intel and figure out what their favorite things are, or you can just bring a nice bottle of wine, bottle of sparkling cider to their home. You can bring a dessert. That's always a good thing to bring when you're going to a dinner. And some of you guys are like, oh, this is so obvious. But some of you all are in high school, some of you are in college, you've never been in a relationship before, you don't really know how to navigate these things. So those are some good tips or some good kind of like quick things to bring along with you. Or flowers are good too, always for somebody's table.
The third thing you want to do when you are meeting somebody's parents or before you meet them is make sure that you begin with the end in mind.
Yeah, that's going to be really important because this is a strategic opportunity for you. Obviously, it doesn't have to be that deep. You don't have to think about it that deeply, but we also don't want you to miss out on an opportunity to really like hit a home run with your significant other's family. So of course you might just think, oh, I'm going to go say hi. They want to just see my face, know that I'm real. Maybe, I don't know. And that's great too. But you also want to ask yourself before you go into this meeting, especially around the holidays, you go for this dinner, whatever the case is like, what do I want to gain from this experience? What do I want them to know about me? And what do I want to know about them? Because if you've been listening to us for a while, you know one of the big things that we talk about is that dating is one long job interview to be your spouse or for you to be their spouse. And the same way when you go into a job interview, yes, they're interviewing you to see if you're good for the role, but you're also interviewing them to see if this company is good for your career. And it's the same way for you meeting a family. So they're trying to size you up, see if you're good for their son or daughter, but you're also asking yourself, like, is this a family that I can see myself in, for the rest of my life? Is this a family that I want to raise my kids in? And of course, they're going to have the same, your partner should have the same kind of thought process when they meet your family, so it's fair. So thinking about things like that, we've definitely had conversations with some couples where they're like, yeah, when I met their family, they were so mean to me and they were not very nice and they were not welcoming, and this isn't something that I want to commit myself to. So just ask yourself that. And if, again, it goes back to like that first point of what do they know about you. If they know that you are like a marketing manager, well, maybe they don't know that you have a dog that you rescued and that you love this dog and that you have a passion for dogs. Maybe you want to tell them about that so they can see another side of you. And then what is it that you know about them? So maybe you know that this family is very hardworking, but maybe you don't know how everybody met. You don't know how all the couples got together, and you're gonna have to learn from your partner, like, oh, who's gonna be there? Is it gonna be your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, or just gonna be your mom, your dad, your immediate family? So really have a goal of like maybe your significant other has like a little sister, and you're like, oh, well, I want to get to know the little sister. I want to know what her favorite color is. I know what her favorite show is to watch on TV. Like go in kind of with a plan, so then when you walk away from that experience, you feel closer to the family and that the family feels closer to you.
All right, y'all. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you are celebrating Thanksgiving, please enjoy it with your family and friends, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this video.
To get more Christian relationship advice, subscribe to our channel.
And make sure you check out our other videos as well.